So back to the main thread. Where exactly are we now?
Well, minds are separated from the body, and the mind itself is lost in time and space, and so the soul, if you want to call it that, becomes this little twinkle of light hovering outside managing the meat. The mind becomes like a crew chief at Burger King, and one sense of time becomes like the French fry computer beeping, and it doesn't matter where the Burger King is because they're all the same anyway.
So what's a person to do?
Well, you have to figure out a way of getting that little twinkle of light back inside the meat, back inside of time, and back inside of space.
I remember baked chicken Mom used to make. It was so good. She made it with shake and bake. The chicken was sure crispy.
Okay, Douglas, we've talked about the mind and the body. Now let's talk about the human soul. Lately, we seem to be transferring it into and onto machines. It feels like we're creating something really big. Do you think it's possible to create something more complex than the human consciousness?
Yeah, in fact, I think we've already done that with machines and film, TV, books, and databases. We've reached a critical mass point now where the amount of memory we put out in the world exceeds the amount of memory contained within our collective biological meat bodies. So, in other words, there's now more memory out there than exists inside of all of us. We've actually created this entity that's bigger than us, but at the same time, it is us.
A greater use of closed-circuit TV is certain. As a matter of simple arithmetic, more time plus more money equals more automobiles.
What did we do before we created this thing, the entity?
Well, before the entity, before machines, the only form of entertainment people really had was relationships.
Does that mean we don't have relationships anymore?
No, but it means that the nature of relationships has changed. The nature of being alive has changed, and the nature of, having life has changed too. I mean, machines are obviously a direct part of this change. They're not going to go away. It really amazes me when people talk about this future as though it's a place that doesn't have TV sets in it. Try and make everyone on Earth simultaneously forget the wheel, and it's just not going to happen.
Is too much memory, the entity, is that a bad thing?
No, it's inevitable, so you can't be moralistic about it. You can't yell at the weather and make it go away. It's just too big. Change doesn't bug me. I tend to look at all these new changes the way I used to look at those old holes they used in Warner Brothers cartoons. Remember when Daffy Duck was in a fix, he'd reach into his pocket and pull out a cartoon hole and throw it in the ground and jump into it and escape? Well, I always used to wonder what it was you'd find at the other end of the hole, where it was you'd end up being. I guess I still do. In a way, I think the future is whatever it is and wherever it is that lies on the other side of that cartoon hole.
But all of this memory, there's only going to be more and more accumulation of it. How does a person cope? As you said, every day is like waking up from a year-long coma.
Well, there's obviously no point in trying to remember everything, because then everything just becomes trivia. Cellulose production in Lake Baikal in rush hour, the contents of Tori Spelling's clothes closet, or the weather in Harlingen, Texas. What's important is being able to locate things.
So has bulk memory replaced history?
Yeah, sort of the way bulk shopping has replaced regular shopping. I remember back in the 70s in history class when teachers would say to us very sonorously, "He who does not remember the past is doomed to repeat it." And I just don't think that's the case anymore. I think that what's happened now is that we've created a scenario so radically different that there's no historical precedent to look back on for the situation we now face. We're no longer condemned to repeat an endless cycle of mistakes. I think this should come as a relief, too. I mean, no more dark age followed by golden age followed by another inevitable dark age. I mean, how great to have finally broken the cycle of history that people can actually manufacture a destiny of their own choosing.
Do you believe in progress?
Yeah.
If you could be an animal, what animal would you be?
I already am an animal.
So where does personal memory fit into all of this? Doesn't it get swamped by the super memory humans are creating? What about the personal stuff?
No. The personal stuff, personal memory, it's the most important thing of all. It's the one thing that can never be taken away from you. It is you. And despite all the recent changes in our time architecture, it still takes time to create memories. It still takes time to remember them. It takes a place in which to locate the memories and a place in which to be still and remember them. It takes a lot of work to be an individual and to have an individual life. And it can be scary, but then the option is to forget and to be forgotten.
Are those your last words?
No, I'd say, hey, kids, go blow yourself up with dynamite and reassemble your bits any way you want to assemble them. Hey, kids, go and jump into that cartoon hole and find out what lies on the other side. I'd say, all the time in the world, it's right there, it's inside you. I'd say, all the world in the world, it's right there inside you. I mean, maybe you have a life and maybe you don't. I don't know you, but you're not alone. I remember back in the 1970s, about the same time people stopped having lives, they also began making fun of intimacy, and they made jokes about people like Halston having parties at Studio 54 for his 500 close personal friends. And so I guess the whole world's Studio 54 now. It's just you and me, babe, and billions of other people out there just like you, billions of close personal friends.